Hey, Brian here. Working on some real-time reports right now, and I think that it's really interesting to see real-time analytics. I think that um, it's almost more useful just from a perspective point of view. I don't know. You gain perspective from it, but it's really not super helpful in making good decisions. There is another use case for it, though. I'll get to that in a second, and it's basically through testing. So, I just want to walk through a couple of these reports really quick because uh, real-time analytics, again, not super helpful. You can see right here that the overview dashboard really gives us this kind of cool looking per second view. And really, this is the last minute. And it actually flows really well from a UX perspective for me, although it's hard to understand at first. But this is the last 60 seconds. And then this right here is the last minute. So you get the last 60 seconds, then 1 minute after that. Or perhaps 1 minute. This is this chart right here, and then everything after that is a minute breakdown. So you can see all the page views that we've had. Kind of interesting, very cool to show off to a client, but they'll probably ask you questions and you won't have the answer, and it's going to be kind of more boring after a while. You'll probably hate it. So just keep this between y'all. Um, so you can actually see some cool stuff, and of course, you can drill down on all these things and see. I don't even know where that is. Is that possibly Canada? I don't know. But anyway, they do have some useful use cases, and we'll drill down here. So for instance, if I'm testing something, um, I'm going to love every second of this because it's really hard to verify in the past what was happening because you didn't have real-time analytics for a little while, talking like 2010, 2011, and then you couldn't really see if events were triggering or if conversions were triggering because you would have to wait at least 2 hours for them to trigger, and then Google would say, oh, well, you have to give it 48 hours time before they're actually correct in your database because we somehow reconcile some of that data, which is complete bullshit. It's like waiting for your DNS to propagate for like 72 hours or whatever they tell you to. So if we were testing conversions, you would be able to complete a fake purchase on your site and see that come through in real time. The only nuance here is that we're using a master view right now, and there's a raw data view and a test view as well. So sometimes you'll have test bookings or test transactions on the dev site, and what you're looking at is actually not the dev site, so you won't be able to see it. So make sure that your filters under admin are sorted correctly, and you'll be able to see this. And if you're doing tests on the live site, um, or if you're doing tests on the dev site and data is getting a little crazy because there are a lot of users on there, especially when you're testing events, because events could be something like people scrolling past 50% of the page and you want to make sure that it's just you. Well, the easy way to go do that is to first either find yourself on the content or traffic sources tab. So you could technically add a fake UTM to your URL, like question mark UTM source equals Brian. Nobody's likely to have that under traffic sources. Then you find who you are. We'll pretend this is me, CPC. I'm a PPC marketer. And you'll see that it's selected as kind of like this segment, the two things that I clicked on. So now this is only showing source Google, medium CPC, and then we can go to landing pages and find the landing page we're on. Now, if there are a ton of landing pages, what you can easily do, and hopefully you're not a local business because then you might be a little screwed, is find what city you're in. So oftentimes, I'll be considered a Tampa user or a Carrollwood user because Carrollwood is, I guess, technically a suburb. But you can find your city here. It adds in with the traffic source, which you could use uniquely. You could even layer in your content, so the page that you're on, and then you can go to events. And that way, when you test, it has to meet all of this criteria to show up. So that's an easy way to test. Other than that, I think the real-time analytics, again, is just kind of cool. Not super helpful, though. So I would advise against using it unless you have, some sort of product launch or something like that, where you think it could be useful to make sure everything's going really well. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions.